I've got some great news for you today, gold and silver stackers. Yes, he said this. I've confirmed it. I'm going to show it to you in this video. What I'm talking about is Donald Trump's recent nominee for Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. He said something that, as gold and silver investors, should make us very, extremely happy. I'm rattled by this. I almost couldn't believe it. It's kind of breaking news, so I've been digging in, trying to learn more, and I'm going to share it with you right now, but we got a lot more to talk about as well. A major financial institution, one that you've likely heard of, now offering digital gold that you can use with a Visa debit card, and gold that is 100% backed up by physical gold in a vault. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the 25% Trump tariffs and maybe a bonus tariff for China as well. Inflation, and we know that inflation will drive the price of gold and silver higher and faster than anything on the face of the earth. But let's get right into the big, massive story that we need to talk about with Scott Bessent. Get used to that name. He'll be replacing this person. We need to say goodbye to someone who's been near and dear to our hearts. Yes, she faithfully served us as the head of the United States Federal Reserve. And then she became the Treasury Secretary, the one and only Janet Yellen. Goodbye, Janet. Being replaced by a gold bug? Can you believe? Wait till you hear this. Let's dive right into this one, guys, because this just absolutely left me flummoxed when I saw this. This was from Make Gold Great Again. Breaking news. Trump nominates a gold bug for the U.S. Treasurer. He's referring to Scott Bessent. And here it says right here, and we're going to look at this quote. The United States new Treasurer, quote, said this on November 4th, not too long ago. He said, "We are in a long-term bull market in gold. It's my biggest position." Okay. He was on a podcast. Here it is right here. You can check it out for yourself. I went and listened to it. Scott Bessent on the Macro Maven podcast, and it's right around the 51-minute mark. You got to check this out. This is the guy who's going to be our new Treasury Secretary. Let's go take a look at his background. Very interesting. There he is. There's Mr. Bessent. And here, okay, Scott Kenneth Homer Bessent is an American hedge fund manager. He was a partner with George Soros Fund Management, and he founder of Key Square Group. I believe he's a billionaire, a global macro investment firm. Bessent has been a major fundraiser to Donald Trump, and as we learned last night, he's also a gold bug. Oh, before I forget, I want to give credit to the person who broke this story, which was Peter Spina, I believe. Yeah, here it is right here from GoldSeek. He's the individual that broke this story. This is big news, guys. This is the United States Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, billionaire. What? And he was with Soros, whatever. He's a gold bug. Hello? What does that mean, right? He's the guy who will be setting the financial policy for the United States. Okay, he's probably in some ways just as powerful, if not potentially, think about this, under President Trump, who wants to rein in more control over monetary policy. This Scott Bessent guy is probably going to wind up being as powerful or maybe even more powerful than our old friend Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve. Look, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. I was absolutely shaken when I saw this news. I don't know, in a good way, shaken in a good way, that we could have a gold and silver bug now heading up the United States Treasury Department. Hey, thank you for being here. I got so excited about this big news I wanted to share with you. We got a lot more big news to talk about, but the biggest news is you. Yes, you are the most important part of the basement. I appreciate you making the decision to join us today, whether live or watching this as a recording. It doesn't matter. You're part of the group. You're part of the tribe. All I'll ask is that you please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Super chat, super thanks are always super appreciated. Looks like we got a super chat here. Hello, Don. Wow, Don, you are consistently so generous in helping support the basement. It goes a long way, as we are supporting the family on the YouTube channel. So thank you guys. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, let's talk about the other big breaking news. There's nothing that is going to drive the price of gold and silver when you think out to 2025, 2026, and beyond, right? And you think about the gold and silver price, you absolutely have to think about the I word, inflation, because there will be nothing that will drive the price of gold and silver in these coming years like inflation, right? We're going to have higher prices. As a matter of fact, in a little while, I'm going to talk to you about this, okay? Eggs. But that's besides the point. Trump is talking about putting these massive tariffs. Wait till you hear this on China, I think on Canada, on Mexico, 25%. Guys, we already have, think about this. We already have high inflation. We already are in a precarious financial situation in this country. If you slap 25% tariffs and we import everything, right? That's going to mean one thing. That's going to mean big, big inflation. Not a political statement. I think you know where my political allegiances lie, but nonetheless, if Trump does this, it will make massive inflation, and nothing will drive the price of gold and silver higher like inflation. The reason why, right, is because over the long period of time, any time period you look at, if you consider devaluation of paper money, in our case, we're dealing with this, right? Remember these things, Federal Reserve notes, nothing drives the price of gold and silver higher like devaluation of the currency, which is the same thing, my fellow basement dwellers, as inflation. But let's see what Trump is proposing, because this is just absolutely startling what he's talking about. This broke last night from Reuters. Trump vows new Canada, Mexico, China tariffs that threaten global trade. Okay, President-elect Donald Trump on Monday pledged big tariffs on the United States' three largest trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China, detailing how he will implement a campaign promise that could trigger trade wars. Trump takes office on January 20th, said he would impose a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico until they clamp down on drugs, particularly fentanyl, and migrants crossing the border, in a move that would appear to violate a free trade deal. Trump also separately outlined an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs on imports from China. Boy, our toasters, you better go out and get your toaster while you can, right? Our TVs, everything could really skyrocket in price. It was not entirely clear what this would mean for China, as he has previously pledged to end China's most favored nation trading status and slap tariffs on Chinese imports in excess of 60%, much higher than those imposed during his first terms, okay? He put those two posts on Truth Social. He said, on January 20th, one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. Man, if this happens, guys, and we talked about this, right, this post-Trump honeymoon that occurred where everybody thought, oh, everything is so wonderful in the world, we're all going to get along. No, right? The reality is something different, right? Donald Trump is shaking the boat. He's shaking the tree, and we're going to have major uncertainty heading into 2025. Not a political statement, just a statement about reality. Okay. And on top of that, like we just talked, let's remember something positive. He did just nominate a gold bug, a precious metals fan, maybe a basement dweller, right, to be the next Treasury Secretary. The darn Treasury Secretary said that gold is his biggest holding, and said that apparently back just on November 4th, which is what? I don't know, 3 weeks ago today. Absolutely incredible. That inflation in the coming years will drive the price of the metals way higher. What about if a major financial institution is now offering digital gold, a way that you can use a Visa debit card to pay for your groceries, your coffee, whatever the case may be? with actual physical gold. Instantaneous, seamless. We're going to talk about that next. We need to go out and take a peeksy-weeksy at the gold and silver price. I appreciate you guys being here. We'll go out. This is yesterday's. Don't have a heart attack. That was yesterday. Today, life goes on. We were down $90 last we checked on gold. Woof. Let's hope for an improvement. Let's press the Pembex magic button. And okay, hey, it's green. We will take it. Gold is up $1, $2,627 per ounce on what is today, Tuesday, November 26, 2024, and silver's up 17 cents. So we'll take that, right? Silver, $30.50. Do you feel like it's building a base? We'll talk about that next. But I do want to say thank you to Pembex and just offer to you the opportunity to check them out. Many of our fellow basement dwellers have checked out Pembex. They're an online bullion dealer. It's a place where you can buy gold, silver, and platinum group metals online. But what they really offer you, number one, is a great selection. Number two, which is, I think, paramount in my opinion, because I tend to be a bit of a tightwad, or no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, not a tightwad. I'm frugal. I'm resourceful. I want to get the most metal for my money. That's why I worked with Pembex before they sponsored Ron's Basement, because their prices are ultra competitive. And of course, you want to work with a company you can trust. Okay. So please do yourself a favor. Just throw them into the mix. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying you will benefit if you give Pembex a chance next time you go to buy silver, gold, or platinum online. Now, let's go take a look at the silver price, because guys, it's fighting, and it's fighting a darn good fight. Here we are. Let's update this. This is the silver's futures contract for December of this year. And as you can see, now you can't see anything. Now you can see. We're loading up. Okay, we're up 26 cents. And let's look at a 6-month chart of silver and see how that looks. Yeah, look at this. Do you see 6 months? We have been hovering a little bit below, a little bit above about $30, $30.50. Of course, we had this big break up here. We need to remind ourselves of this, because there's a lot of good things going on still in the silver market. And that is, if we go back just to August, we've got a nice uptrend line. If we go back let's go look at a 5-year chart of silver. I mean, do you see this? I see it. I mean, to me, hold on. I got to turn on the crayons. There we are. All right. We've got a lot of solid, what I would call uptrend lines in the silver market. And, this last little period here around $30 consolidation, that happens. That's part of a bull market. You will have periods of time that will not go straight up. We can look at any long-term chart, gold, silver, Apple stock, NVIDIA, anything that's in a big bull market. It goes up, it pulls back. That's when the people that want to get out, get out. It establishes a new base and it moves higher. And I see that coming in the silver and gold market. Let's talk about this new. To me, it's new. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, this is new news. And to me, it's breaking news in my mind. And that is a major financial institution offering a new solution to make gold and hopefully eventually silver, and we'll look at some silver data on this company a little bit as well, functional. This will not, don't worry, this will not. There's a reason why we want to explore these digital forms of gold. Big reason. I'll explain that to you. But before we do that, I want to emphasize to you, this does not prohibit you from stacking gold and silver. We're talking about a company called Wisdom Tree. And hold on here. There it is. It's called Wisdom Tree Prime. This is not sponsored. I'm not making any recommendations. Someone pointed this out to me, and I found it very interesting. Wisdom Tree Prime is now offering this. They call it the power of gold in the palm of your hand. Buy, sell, save, and invest in digital gold. Plus, use your digital gold to pay bills and make everyday purchases with tools from Wisdom Tree Prime. And there's the Visa debit card. But what's critical about this, as I dug in a little bit, is they call this a new way to own gold. Now you can own gold as a digital asset with the Wisdom Tree Gold token, which represents a direct ownership interest in physical gold. Easily buy and sell digital gold. Ownership of physical gold stored in a secure vault with no storage fees. Exchange it, and you can also exchange it into other digital assets. But what we're talking about here, guys, all right, spend from your digital gold to pay bills or make purchases using tools from Wisdom Tree Prime and your Wisdom Tree Prime Visa debit card. To me, this is so interesting because, guys, I know, like, as you know, a lot of hardcore stackers are like, I don't like digital gold. I don't like digital. That's not a cryptocurrency. The way I understand what we just looked at is that is an asset-backed digital currency. That makes gold and silver functional. Look, I love this stuff. Okay. You know me, right? There's an American silver eagle. Isn't she beautiful? But you and I know both in reality, we're going to have a hard time if we go out for lunch today and we try to use this for payment. Sure, right? There's probably a few restaurants in your town or my town that would take this and realize that it's worth about 32 US dollars. They would convert it into paper money. But the reality is it would be very difficult. So these asset-backed digital currencies like Wisdom Tree, and I don't know if they're referring to it, I'm referring to it as an asset-backed digital currency. They make the precious metals functional. Listen to me, please. They do not prohibit you or me from continuing to stack. Right? It just adds a new component, a new level of functionality to silver and gold, a new way for people to protect their savings with silver and gold. And there's a big bonus factor to this as well. Even if you don't, and I don't have one of those, I'm not making recommendations. That was not a sponsored plug or anything, something that I just found very interesting. But even if we don't, and I don't have any digital gold. I don't own any crypto either, anything like that. But even if we choose not to partake in these types of asset-backed digital currency opportunities, the big key thing is that, guys, that only those being around and those growing in popularity will only increase, right, a number of ounces that are needing to be bought in the market. They will help drive up demand for physical gold. And if they offer a physical silver opportunity for physical silver as well. Let's quickly look at who is Wisdom Tree, just so we know who we're talking about here. And here we are about Wisdom Tree. Let's go down to the bottom. That's where the real meat is. So they're a 200 plus employee company with $113 billion of assets under management. So they're not like a Fidelity or a Vanguard, but they're big. And they've got offices in, looks like, New York and UK and a couple other European cities. So this is a big company. To me, that is big news. That does mean something when we have this movement, because the future is digital. You know, I was having coffee this morning with Gerard, one of our fellow basement dwellers, and he was saying the same thing, as I remember. The future is digital. Okay. I don't think personally that it's cryptocurrency digital, nothing, but digital gold and silver that are 100% backed by real metal in a real vault that's audited and regulated and confirmed. That's the future, right? That's the future. Imagine if you can go out and spend a third of an ounce of silver to buy yourself a sandwich. It's happening. And it will create massive new demand. It has this opportunity. We can't, my opinion only, you're free to think whatever you want, but we can't just poo-poo these ideas of asset-backed digital currencies when it comes to the precious metals. It's the future, right? I don't think that we're going to, I'll say it one more time, we aren't going to walk around and use this to buy groceries, okay? I just don't see that happening. But again, doing it in a digital manner is a big deal. This is interesting. So we're talking about these asset-backed digital currencies. Let's talk about the LBMA and the actual physical metal, because we always go, let's do our daily trip out to the US debt clock, and we know that there's a massive amount of paper silver traded for each 1 ounce of real silver. But before we do that, let's just confirm, yes, the U.S. national debt still exists. And yes, the interest on the debt is still above $1 trillion. Let's go do a quick look over here. Okay, the dollar to silver ratio now at almost 1,030 per ounce. Yes, for each 1 ounce of silver being produced this year, the United States government is creating over $1,000 for each 1 ounce of silver through the M2 money supply. Staggering. I'm not saying that the silver price should be 1,028, but just to look at that ratio gives us an idea of how much paper M2 money supply is being created for each 1 ounce of silver. What we do want to look at here is the paper to silver ratio, which according to the U.S. debt clock is now 411. We'll round up. That means that for each 1 ounce, for every 400 ounces, think of it this way: for every 400 ounces of paper silver that are traded, there's only 1 real ounce backing that up. And look at this data that we get from the LBMA from our friend Hugo, who says a significant 79% of the accounting of silver stored in the London vaults is held by ETFs. Almost 80%, almost 4 out of every 5 ounces stored in the London vaults is held by the ETFs, guys. That means it's claimed. That means it's not available, not available to be delivered on these paper contracts that are being traded. So here are all the ETFs, right? Here's the SLV ETF, 475 million ounces. There's Wisdom Tree, interesting enough, the company we just talked about with the gold asset-backed digital currency solution that they have over 53 million ounces, again, of silver. You just go down this list, okay, gold money, bullion vault, total ETF holdings in the London vaults, 676 million ounces of silver. But that's out of a total of only, right, silver held in London vaults at the LBMA, total of 856. Do you see this? Hold on, let me get the crayons out. So we've got this number right here, 676. That's held by the ETFs. But that is the total number, 856. That means that the available ounces on the LBMA are only about 180 million ounces. That's what, like maybe 20% of the entire world's annual mining production. Okay. And we know from our friend the dude that on many days, the electronic markets trade half of the entire world's mining, the annual world's mining production in one day. They'll trade half of the entire world's annual mining production. And the LBMA is only sitting on 180 million ounces. And they can, so you're going to tell us that the price of silver is not manipulated? Isn't it? Doesn't it make sense? I mean, that's the reason why we dig into this stuff, to look and say, like, okay, so the LBMA has 180 million ounces total in their vault, but on any given day, the COMEX and the LBMA together can trade in one day the equivalent of over 400 million ounces, which is the equivalent of half the year's annual mine output. I mean, come on, man. Are they trying to fool us? Because they're doing a good job. Let's run back out to Pimbex and get a quick update on the silver and gold price. We'll press the magic button there. All right, we're moving in the right direction. Silver up 14 cents. Hey, anything's better than yesterday. Boy, platinum's been taking it. $930 per ounce. Oof, it is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Hey, I have a question for you guys about silver. Since we were facing what felt like doomsday yesterday, I had said a few months ago that if the silver price got to $26.50, that I would back the truck up. Look, I've bought silver for decades, okay? I store it at offsite locations. I'm not a multimillionaire or anything like that, but I've got enough silver relative to what we want to own. I'll only buy when I think it's an unbelievable great deal. I've raised that number now to $27 per ounce. If silver does, and I don't think it will, right? But trust me, I'm satisfied with, decades of stacking, how much I do have. if it does get to 27, I will. I'm curious how you guys think. Like, what's your back up the truck number, okay, for silver? Because you know what, silver, let's be real, man. This stuff, right? This is value. This is real money. And it got me thinking last night, okay? Some basic comparisons, right? We think of silver in terms of dollars, which is a big mistake. A big mistake, because I'm going to tell you something. I'll tell you the reason why thinking of silver in dollars. I'm guilty. My hands up, okay? I'm guilty of doing it like everybody else, but it's a big mistake because look, this has been valued in everything else for centuries and centuries. And it got me thinking about eggs. I don't know why last night, but I was thinking like a dozen eggs now. I was at the grocery store the other day. It was like $4. Okay. So here's my question for you. I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think at $4, this one, measured in dollars, this 1 ounce of silver, this right here, this 1 ounce of silver would buy you about 8 of these, 8 dozen eggs at this point, roughly 7 or 8. Do you really think that's a fair trade, right? Because we talk about the real value of silver, the real value. And then to determine that, I think it's critical to compare it against other things, oil, maybe land, houses, whatever. But on a very simple basis, I was thinking about this, right, as compared to 7 or 8 of these. 96, I had to take Susie's eggs out of the fridge. There's a couple in there, okay? 96 of those. Would you trade this for 96 eggs? And it got me thinking about like the value of eggs, okay? Stay with me on this because I think it's critical information that for us to understand as we think about the value of our silver. So you've got one of these, I'll show you one more time. It's kind of fun to look at these eggs versus 96 eggs, 48 times what you're seeing there, 2 eggs. How could you tell me? I just, to me, it's just complete insanity to think that you only get 96 eggs for each one of these. And it got me thinking, it was like, if you think about the eggs, right? How much work goes into producing 96 eggs? There's work that goes in, no doubt about it, right? But everybody I know, not everybody, but I know a lot of people that have chickens in their backyard now that probably lay 96 eggs. And I thought, as we're comparing the value of an ounce of silver to 96 eggs, it doesn't make sense. So how undervalued silver is, because if you take those people like my neighbors that have chicken coops now, and you tell them like, I need 96 eggs, well, they could probably over time come up with 96 eggs. Okay. Stay with me on this one. But if you told that same person, I want you to generate for me an ounce of silver, they wouldn't have a chance in the world of generating an ounce of silver. But my point is that there's so much more work and expertise in value that is stored in this than what you can get for it right now on a relative basis. Whether you're talking about this or this, I went and met a basement dweller this morning for coffee. You know what this cost me? Right? Get sipping, Panera bread. I wound up, by the time I was done, paying $4. Do you think that this, would you trade this, an ounce of silver, for 8 of these, 8 cups of coffee? I don't think you would. I really don't think you would. And I don't think that it's a smart trade, in my opinion. So I got this question yesterday about the real value in bread. How much, if silver goes to $100, what if bread costs $15, $20? Well, I don't think that'll be the case. What I believe we're in for as precious metals investors, just my opinion, I could be wrong, I don't have a crystal ball, is a period of time where the real value of ounces of silver go up substantially. Where instead of getting 96 excuse me, 96 eggs for an ounce of silver, maybe we're getting 960. And maybe at some point, if silver really breaks out, we're getting 9,600 eggs for each ounce of silver. I don't know, guys. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Hey, I want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold, Canadian gold developer. They've got gold in the ground in Canada, 2 multi-million ounce development stage projects And I want to say thank you to Fortuna Mining. They're an active producing mining company, silver and gold in Latin America. And they have an expanding gold production profile in West Africa. And of course, Pimbex, Pimbex. If you need to get bullion online, just do yourself a favor, check out Pimbex. And, I want to mention to you guys, DirtyMan SAFE. Let me pull this up real quickly so you remember. I think it's a great Christmas present idea for somebody you love who's a stacker or maybe likes to bury things in their backyard. I will be doing a giveaway on December 30th of a DirtyMan SAFE. There's a link in the description, of this video. And if you ever decide you want to buy one, you can use this code RON10 to get 10% off. And what else let's go take a look at because this is going to have major impacts next week, or in the coming weeks, on the silver and gold price. And that is the CME FedWatch tool. This will tell us just how much, once it loads up here, come on, here we go. This will tell us just what the odds are of a Fed rate cut at the next meeting. And, it's moving, still moving. We can go up here to the top to the ticker. 22 days, so 3 weeks, we're going to get the next Fed interest rate decision, monetary policy decision. And looks like at this point, it's 56% chance that we're going to get a rate cut. 44% chance that we will not get a rate cut while we're out here on our field trip. I'm sorry, guys, I forgot to pull your screen up. Welcome to live streams. Make sure I got you on the right screen, which I do. There we go. There's the CME FedWatch tool. Again, you can go up here. There's a countdown, 22 days till we get our next decision. Let's go out in the future. So this is, you see my arrow, the meeting on the 18th of December. Again, that'll be 3 weeks from tomorrow or Thursday. 56% chance of a quarter-point rate cut. But what if we go all the way out to, let's go to March. This is interesting to see what they're saying for March. Okay, so in March, they're saying that there is actually almost 17% chance that there will be no changes in interest rates, 44% chance that we'll have rates a quarter point lower than where we are now, and a 33% chance that they'll be a half point lower. And this is interesting, 6% chance that we'll have rates down by 0.75%. Let's go take a quick look at the dollar index. Okay, it's up again. Wow, unbelievable. 107. Man, guys, I'm sorry for those of you who are regulars, but we need to take a look at this. Unbelievable rally in the DXY index from the end of September. Really, about the last 8 weeks, the dollar has gone from dollar index from 100 all the way to north of 107. Woof, we are in nosebleed territory. And what the heck, while we're out here, let's take a look at the price of gold in euros. Black Friday sale. No, thank you. And we're going to look at let's look at a 1-year chart of that. Okay, so as you can see, we did pop up the new all-time highs. We pulled back a little bit in euros, still above 2,500. Gold in euros, that's gold priced in euros. Why is that important? Because what that shows us is, right, that throughout the world in other countries, including Europe and Great Britain, gold has broken out just recently, not after yesterday, but as of Friday, had broken out the new all-time highs. Guys, it's only Tuesday. It'll be interesting once we get through Thanksgiving and through Friday to see where these markets head. All right. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being part of the basement. Thank you to Jake from Jake's Custom Parts. Thank you to the one and only Annie Oakley. Thank you to Big Tim the Silvershire, the moderators. Thank you for being here. Let's keep an eye on what's going on, right? We're in for some interesting times as we head into 2025. It is going to be crazy. Look, and I think that what Trump did yesterday, making this announcement about these tariffs, is a small taste of what's to come, right? He's willing. That guy has, for lack of a better term, courage to kind of do what he wants and shake the tree. I mean, I think we are in for some very interesting times in 2025. 2024 was nothing like we expected from a turmoil perspective. I think we're going to be in for some very interesting developments in 2025. I'll be here for you through it all. You're the most important part of Ron's Basement. Thanks again, guys, for being here. Thanks for all you do. Okay. I hope you feel like you found a little home away from home, and I will look forward to seeing you next